Welcome to Tim Talks. You know, this American Tim Hortons is just a little different. Hey, everybody.
Don't blame it on America. You're trying to get free coffee out of a donut certificate.
I think it just scorched my throat. Ladies and gentlemen, I am in Mansfield, Ohio with the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Wolven.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yep.
Together.
Yes.
And I'm drinking Tim Hortons from Mansfield, Ohio, one of only 2 or 3 Tim Hortons in the region south of Cleveland. Cleveland, a couple million people, not a Tim Hortons. What's up with that? But here in Mansfield, the booming metropolis, and Ashland, as I like to call it, Cashland. That's where all the money is over there. Tim Hortons. And with us, it's not just me and you, not just me and you, no. We have a guest. Special guest. And with us is Zach Custer. And Zach, welcome to Tim Talks.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me. So excited to be here.
He invited you, I didn't.
It's probably one of the highlights of your life, really, if you think about it, right?
It is. Top 3.
Marriage,
top 3.
Kids, and Tim Talks.
Well, I just spoke with someone who was the interview question, the audio question.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, man, I'm 40 years old, and that's the apex of my life. It's all downhill from here.
Wow. Wow. Somebody just told me the other day, they were speaking to some teenagers and said, young people, I've been married for 40 years. Don't really recommend it, but that's what people are going to say when Tim Talks. We've been listening for 10 years. Don't really recommend it. So, awesome. Some of you heard a shout out to Zach just last week, and Zach did me a favor. I had a website that looked pretty horrific. Zach, would you concur?
It was
horrific.
It was It was horrific.
Yeah. Brother Dan did it for me. No.
Here he is blaming other people.
So
just like the coffee.
If it's not a template, I can't do anything off the
Exactly. So somebody set it up for me, and then I tried to, do some stuff myself, and it was pretty bad. So I was in trouble, and Zach had reached out to me on your own about a year or 2 ago, and said, hey, I was looking at your site. Any chance I could help you? And man, he did a great job. It was awesome. And I said, is there any chance you could help me with this site? And he's, yeah, I can do it. Man, it was awesome. You did a great job on that.
Appreciate it.
Great job.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing that?
About 6 years I've been in marketing. Yeah, so went to school for it for 2.5, up to 4 years, and then graduated early and worked my way through it. And now I'm starting right where I learned. So I started at Pensacola Christian College, right where, and started in their marketing department. Came back to Ohio. Started my own business, and also I work at Mansfield Christian School, and I'm their marketing director. So,
Zach, I've known him over 40 years. He does things bad on purpose so other people will do it. So I don't know what you've gotten yourself into.
Yeah.
Like, this is really bad. Well, I really need some help.
That's right. Who will help me? Yes. Who is that desperate that they can use the work?
Look at those, how dirty those gloves are.
That's right. Oh, man. Well, it's worth getting my clothes clean for a long, long time. So it worked out. So Zach's with us because I was impressed by what Zach did, and I got thinking, and Brother Wolven, you and I both know, there's some websites in independent Baptist churches that are not very good.
Ours just broke down this week.
I know a guy. I know a guy. And with all the trouble we had with, our website and all that kind of stuff, I thought, if we only knew a guy. And we know a guy.
Exactly.
And so I have pastors all the time as I'm traveling ask me, do you know anybody that does websites? And I do. So I thought, Zach, if we could get you on, get some questions that would maybe help others in getting their websites up to where it should be, because it's important today, for sure.
It is, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that goes to a church today that doesn't check it out online first. And I got to be honest, I do the same thing if I'm traveling somewhere. And I see some websites, I think.
Going on vacation, wherever,
Yeah, I think I'm probably not going to go to church there just because of their website.
Right.
If they don't take good care of that, they're probably not taking good care of other things. So
exactly. All
right, good. So you want to take the first question, or you want me to?
Have at it.
Okay. What is the biggest mistake that churches make, and I guess this applies to business too, but we'll deal with churches. What's one of the biggest mistakes that churches make with websites?
The first thing I would say is not even having one. If you don't have one, then you're already at a spot where you have less of an impact than another church down the street because you have a website or they have a website and you don't. That is a huge issue. Like we just said, like if you don't have a website, if your people are searching online, you're never going to show up. So you have zero chance of ever reaching anyone online if you don't have a website.
Yeah, I know, like I've had some churches that have just a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Right? And they do that because it's free.
Yeah.
They don't have a website because it costs money, right? So that's it. And I know as soon as I see that they don't have a website, I'm thinking, wow, this is not good. Something's not right here. So.
Right. It's not that difficult. I mean, you can have, even if it's just you have a website, it's still better than not having one. So that was the first thing I thought of is just what's the number one thing that people can do wrong is just not even having one in the first place.
Let me ask you, what would you say would be a bare bones amount that a church is going to have to pay to get a website set up and host it?
Yeah, so through a platform like Wix or GoDaddy is usually the cheapest and most beginner friendly, and you're talking less than $50 a month for hosting and for the platform itself.
And what would you say would be an average cost of setting just a simple website up?
So to pay a designer or a marketing agency, you're looking at a couple thousand minimum, depending on what you're looking for. But with GoDaddy and with all the new software out there, with all of the AI stuff, you can basically make a website even if you don't know anything about websites. So it's not that difficult for you to do some research on yourself, try to find something that's cheap, and at least make an effort to be online.
Okay.
That's an apt description of our Tim Talks.
I was going to say.
If you don't know anything, you can still do one.
Well, you notice he was looking right at you.
Well, back in the Iron Horse days, when I was in Bible college, we had pastors that would come in constantly and say, you need a good advertisement in the Yellow Pages. Spend the money in the Yellow Pages. When I first went to North Columbus Baptist Church, it was 2002, and the internet was becoming more used, but it was still in the days of when if somebody said, he's dating some girl he found on the internet. It was like, oh my goodness, what a shame. So we would have the first 2 to 3 years that I was there, I had a questionnaire on visitors. We averaged about 200 visitors a year, adult visitors, and 85% said they found us through the Yellow Pages. And by the 5th year, it was if we didn't have a website, they didn't know where to find it. So it's been quite a while that churches should already have a website.
Yeah, but still so many of them don't. And
you're right.
It's an issue that it's part of your evangelism. In my mind, I think a little bit differently. I'm not a pastor. I don't have a big background in Bible college or anything, but what I take is the marketing side of things and say, okay, I wonder if part of your budget, and don't put it in the tech budget, put it in the missions budget, because you have such a big opportunity that is so neglected. If you just put some money into having a website and having who is Jesus and how to be saved, answer some questions on there, and you don't know how far that could reach. Amen. You have people that are all over the world have access to a website. Whereas if you are trying to do a local ad or if you're Yellow Pages or anything, you're surrounded by only the people in your circle have access to that information, whereas a website can be reached anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Yeah. Any churches, sites that you would say, now that's really something you should look at? They've done a really good job. Anything come to mind that you can think of?
Typically, if you find a church that has a big congregation, because they have a big congregation, they have a budget. Mm-hmm. So
and they generally have somebody on staff.
Correct.
Who's doing it and looking after it.
Right.
So it's hard to compare. It's almost apples and oranges when you have a church of 100 people. Yep. You don't have the budget. You don't have someone that knows how to do these things. So I would say do your best to find the best one in your area and do exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Nothing says you can't. Look at their visuals. Look if they're having live streams, they're updating stuff. If they have all different platforms of social media, just do exactly what they're doing.
What are some bare bone things that a church should have on their website?
Yeah, so I think the thought behind that question is valid, but the execution of it is sometimes where it's not followed through. So like a church is a ministry, and so they want to do everything where they are stewards of what God has given them. But sometimes it comes across as they're stingy instead of stewards. So the difference would be, hey, I don't want to spend my money here, I'd rather spend it here, versus what has God laid on my heart that is the best use of this money? And where churches, I believe, end up not putting money towards a website is because of that. They're like, okay, we want to spend money overseas, but they neglect something that is in their own pocket that could reach people overseas as well. So I love the question, but I think that when churches take that approach, they end up always taking a backseat on the website. Like, what's the minimum I could do in order to get this working?
Okay.
Instead, it would be, how can we maximize the budget that we have to make this work?
Okay.
And so when you flip it on that end and say, okay, what are some basic things that you absolutely need to reach your audience? I think number one is having your website have one goal. Your goal is to reach people. Your goal isn't to have the bulletin on there and to inform your church. It's to reach the world with the gospel. And once you do that, then everything kind of falls in place. What can I do that my website could enhance somebody who doesn't know anything about the gospel? I make it so easy for them. So as soon as the page loads, they should have really clear instructions about the website is about and how it can help them. Whether that's, hey, plan your visit, and that's like the first thing they see. Or this is the safety and security of our children, like because we have this implemented. And those are things that people are looking for. When they come to a website and it's all this information about members and it's really confusing to even navigate, then they're immediately gone. They only have the attention span of a goldfish, less than 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you don't immediately answer the questions that they're looking for, then they're already gone.
So where I see, and you probably do as well, Brother Stone, most pastors 40 and older look at the website as a necessity or an obligation, and most people in their 30s or younger look and see it as an opportunity. I think that's probably about accurate.
Yeah, I'd say that necessary evil. We
Yes.
got to have it, but nobody's going
Right.
to run it, and it's going to look good for the first 6 months, and then it's going
Right.
to be
The
outdated.
pictures
and-
are not, yeah, we still got Christmas on there. Yep.
Right, and
Yep.
then the pastor usually ends up trying to fix the thing himself, and you saw the result of that,
Yeah.
Zach.
Yeah.
Me trying to do it, and that's the problem, because I know enough. I know what looks good, but I don't know how to get there. And you did in probably 20 or 30 minutes what would take me hours. And so that's neat. And to have a guy
I
that
don't
can
know
do
about
that.
that. I don't think you could have done it.
I didn't. That was the problem. That was the problem. So yeah.
You definitely hit this. My second point to answer your question is it's almost even worse to have a website and then it's just so outdated that it just immediately turns people off. It's like, oh, well, at least they have a website, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's like from 2008 and this hasn't been updated. And because that reflects the excellence of your church, in my opinion, as a younger person coming to a website, if you haven't put the time and effort to be excellent in everything that you do, then what other things are you neglecting in your church? Like, am I going to walk in and it smells really musty because the carpet's from 1990? Like, I mean, there's just other things that are reflected when you start cutting corners, and it doesn't, in my mind, God says, do everything to the glory of God. And a website is one of the best ways that you can show excellence of your church and to just show that you are on top of things.
Yeah. And I think,
Really?
Yeah.
All my kids are born before 1990.
I know. Did you feel really old when he said 1990? I was like, wow.
I mean, way back in 1990.
2000?
Hey, that's some old carpet from 1990.
Older than he is. It's older than he is. And I think, the Bible says do things decently in order, and I think that's really a key point for websites, that it should be decent and it should be orderly and have some rhyme and reason to it. And I've been on those websites where, the last announcement was like last Easter, and it's not up to date, and you're like, wow, nobody's paying attention to this. It's kind of a sad look. So, yeah. Wow.
I've got a lot of questions for Wednesday, to follow up on how, what your suggestions are, because everything you're saying is obviously 100% correct.
Yeah.
And the problem we have as pastors oftentimes is, how do you get there?
Right.
Yeah. And I think too, part of it is, you said a couple $1,000s, and most pastors just cringed. They're like, $2,000. Oh, but
Just to set it up.
to set it up. But if you have a really good website, you're going to attract people to come who are potentially going to give, and you're going to recoup that money in time, right?
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
what we
in the
look at.
past, I've had people go, we spent $600 just to get pictures,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, you want high DPI pictures for anything printed.
Yeah.
At $600, yeah, that's a great bargain for a whole year.
Yeah.
Well, we can grab pictures off the internet. That's 72 DPI, and a 600 DPI printer is going to look horrendous.
Yeah. We always just seem to want to cheap out a little bit on the Lord's work, and really, if there's anything we should pour money into,
Right.
the image of Christ and His church, right?
Right.
When you got married, you didn't want your wife to cheap out and go to a secondhand store and get a yellow wedding dress that's aged and faded. You want
From 1990.
1990. Imagine. Woo! An old tattered rag. Wow. Do you know how old we are? We're old. And some of us are older than others.
Yes, I got married in 81.
Wow. We got just a couple minutes. What's probably the biggest mistake you think people make when doing websites?
Well, you already asked that. He said not having a website.
Well,
so
that's true.
what's the second
That's
biggest
true.
mistake?
Second biggest, I think, is still the not having the information that people are looking for.
Okay.
And there's ways, and we could talk about that, how you figure out that information. But if your website is all over the place, it's not having one unified goal, it just confuses everyone. So it just throws people off completely. Another thing I see is exactly what you guys are saying. They're like, these pictures are horrible. Like, what did you take these on? And like somebody's flip phone, that we're in the back of the auditorium trying to zoom in.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures I see is just, it's really bad. So something, you want them to get to your website by having the website. Then you want to have the information that they're looking for, and then you want to keep them there. And the visuals, the audio, the video, the pictures, all of those enhance your website and want to keep people there. And then it turns people into, okay, you know what? This is a new church, and I might want to go there. I might want to become a member. I might want to learn more of what they offer just because they have up-to-date information.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll leave it there and close out. So with us, Zach Custer. Zach, tell our folks how they can get hold of you to get more information.
Yeah, so my website is custermarketing.com, Custer. So every time I talk and do voice to text, it always replaces it as customer. So it's customer, like general customer.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm on every social media. I post every single day about learning how to get found online with SEO, which is search engine optimization. That's basically just getting found online.
Right.
AI and some platforms that you can really use to enhance your business, your ministry, everything all in one. So
Website at littlebighorn.com.
Yeah, that's right. We won't talk about that. Well, till Wednesday, Zach, thank you for being with us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yes,
that.
thank you.
And for those of you that are custom, I'm Al Stone. I'm in Mansfield, Ohio with my good friend Dan Wolfen and Zach Custer. And we'll be here all week for this. And my wife is speaking right now to the ladies at the ladies meeting here. The big ladies meeting, we like to call it. The big
Just
ladies.
Dan, well, I don't have time to sign up. Timer's going to go off.
Perfect. This is Tim Talks. We'll be back on Wednesday. Have a great day.